Before we get into your reading, I'd like to start by thanking everyone who has liked and commented on the videos, as well as subscribed and donated to my channel. I really appreciate it, you guys. And if you'd like to book a personal reading with me, you can find all of my contact information, including my email and social media links, as well as links to my music and podcast in the description below this video. Okay, let's get into your reading.
What do we have for Aries? Ten of Swords, Gemini energy at the foundation of the reading, Aries. Aries, I'm getting energy here of liberation. It's as if something is over. You've moved on from something, but you're only just now really starting to recognize how much damage this particular cycle that you were in brought to your life. For a lot of you, this is going to be a person. It could be a group of people. It could be a family dynamic. It could even be something having to do with your career. You faced a lot of setbacks. You took a lot of losses, but there is an energy here of recovery. And as you're slowly rebuilding, Aries, however that may show up for you, doesn't even have to be physical and material. It could be spiritual in nature. I feel you're really starting to recognize how much you've really grown, how much you've evolved, how much you've learned just in the past few years. And it doesn't matter what your age is. I always talk about how I see a lot of people going through the same cycles currently in this modern day society that we live in at all ages. So I may come across somebody who's in their 20s who's going through the same thing as somebody who's in their 70s. See, I look at energy collectively. It's like there's a whole group of you out there. No matter how young or old you are, it's as if you're all going through similar cycles. Now, this can be frustrating for the older people that are going through the exact same thing as the younger individuals, but you have to recognize that as you being put through the cycles a little longer, not because you did anything wrong per se, but more so that you were chosen to run those cycles a little longer because you needed to gather wisdom over an extended period of time. There has to be examples of this wisdom in all age brackets. I hope I'm making myself clear there, Aries. It makes good sense to me, and I believe that whoever is meant to hear this message will understand what it is I'm saying. But a lot of the time I come across people who are half my age, and it's like they're going through things I went through much later than them. So it's like they get a head start, so to speak. But this is also an indication of evolution. See, we want to start getting to people a bit younger because there's no reason to really be running these cycles, collectively speaking, if they've already been run by so many people. So simply put, Aries, what I'm seeing for you is an energy of you recognizing the evolution that's been taking place in your life. And I feel that you're recognizing yourself as completely changed. It's like you've been removed from these really harsh cycles that were seemingly repeating year after year, decade after decade, however that shows up for you. But now you actually feel it in the energy, in your life. It's showing up in your material, everyday, waking life, that you have evolved. You have ascended. You are not the Aries you once were. And with this, Aries, comes a whole new beginning. What do we have at the sacral, please? Queen of Swords, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy at the sacral. And this is a perfect card to follow this Ten of Swords because this is indicating your understanding of what's taking place here. It's an energy of you being really honest with yourself, really organizing your mentals. And I feel that your perception surrounding your life, evolution, and the collective as a whole has never been clearer, Aries. It's like you're starting to understand more your place in the divine plan. See, we all play an incremental role in the collective vibration, the shifting of energies. We all influence that. And we influence that by the way we live our own individual lives. This is something you're becoming very aware of now, Aries. And this is why this great evolution has come into your life, this great ascension. We have all swords on the table right now, so this is really focusing in on your mentals, the way you think, your perception, the way you see life. Everything has changed, Aries. I also feel that with this Queen of Swords at this sacral position, that you're feeling a lot more optimistic as well about your future, based off of this new perception that you have. After a time of running these same cycles over and over and essentially living in some sort of fear, I feel this is all coming to an end or has already come to an end, depending on where you are on this timeline. What do we have? The solar plexus, please? Page of Pentacles at the solar plexus, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn energy. And this is exactly the energy that I've been picking up for you, Aries. It's this new kind of energy. It's an energy of seeking. It's also an energy of manifestation. For some of you, this can be showing up as literally new jobs, something like this. Just a whole new energy is what you're stepping into here, Aries. And it's like you're starting fresh. You're starting from the beginning of this new cycle in your life. Whole new lease on life kind of energy here. And I really feel this energy of you taking the bull by the horns as well, Aries. You know, I was talking about how I feel like you took quite a lot of losses in this previous cycle. You missed out on a lot of opportunities that came your way. This is something that you're just not going to allow to happen anymore. I feel like you're leaving no stone unturned in this new cycle. It's like you're really charging forward, being very proactive in the building of this new reality, in the mechanics of your life. You're really getting down to the details, I feel, Aries. And this is all based off of this new perception that you have surrounding life in general. I'm getting a very excited kind of energy here as well. It's like you have this reignited passion for life, which is enabling you to have this very confident, very driven kind of energy at the solar plexus. I'm picking up very balanced solar plexus energy for you, Aries, which is you really feeling yourself, because the solar plexus is the chakra for Scorpio and Aries. It's Mars energy. What do we have at the heart, please? Eight of Cups at the heart. Wow. Pisces energy. This took everything to leave these cycles behind, Aries. But finally, you're in this energy where there is just no turning back. You ran some of these cycles so many times, hoping things would change, and they never did. Just got to a point where you started to really lose yourself in the hope that this person, these people, this environment would change. For some of you, there was many years wasted inside these cycles. There's some individuals out there that ran this cycle their entire life up until now. Family dynamics. Trying to get people to follow your lead, to understand your vision. You invested so much time into this, Aries, that you essentially held yourself back. And I feel something divine took place in your life. Picking up this energy of a higher power stepping in and basically just telling you no more in some capacity here. It's like you finally confronted the truth, understanding that you can't wake people up, Aries. You can only lay down an example, maybe a few breadcrumbs here and there, and hope that people will start to get a clue, maybe follow the path that you've laid out. But it's very rare, Aries. People have to be at least seeking this kind of awakening in their life. You know, sometimes I have people come to me asking how they can get somebody to wake up spiritually who's in their life. And unfortunately, this is just not possible. To reiterate, you can only lay down examples and hope that something clicks. They have a light bulb moment, because it's all surrounding perception. It's literally a shifting of paradigms that needs to happen inside the person's mind for them to be able to conceive what it is you're even talking about. You know, all the people from my old life didn't understand what I was talking about, couldn't even comprehend what an ascension was. So indoctrinated by the illusion, by the matrix, their everyday waking life. Completely disconnected from source and higher guidance, consumed by the material world. This is what I feel you're leaving behind, Aries. This is never easy, because there's also an understanding, a realization for a lot of you out there that there's a certain death that happens as well when you walk away, because a lot of these people you just won't see again. I quite often talk about how when you go through these ascensions, the people that were once in your life are nowhere to be found. It's as if they're on a different plane of existence now. You'll find that you won't bump into them anymore. You won't see them anymore. You don't even want to look at their social media accounts. Things like this, they're just essentially non-existent in your life. When you start to feel this, Aries, this is a very clear indication of how far you've really come on your journey, how big your ascension really is. Some of these people become a fading memory. I can't quite put words to the feeling of it, Aries, but again, it's just as if they don't even exist. They become a part of this bad dream, a dream where you weren't on top, a dream where you were struggling day in and day out to get to where you are now. This is also called timeline jumping. All of a sudden, all the things of the past that maybe people held over you, the negative things people said about you, just fade into the ethers. It's all forgotten. It's as if you've reprogrammed your reality to fit your new life, to fit this ascension, to fit your rebirth. What do we have at the throat, please? Wow. 3 of Wands, Aries, that's your energy right there at the throat. And the illustration alone just really feels like what I was just saying, right? Visionary energy, very expansive. It's just an overall energy of you pursuing new territory and taking this leadership role in your life, in your environment, however that shows up for you. It's also an energy of really taking the power back and just focusing on yourself. But here you are, looking back, wondering if they'll ever get it, if they'll ever come looking for you. This yellow and black material this individual has around them. End of the road kind of energy. The ending of one cycle and the beginning of a new one. This is what this entire reading is about. For those of you that have been dealing with romantic connections, this is an energy of you changing the kinds of people that you're seeking out in relation to romantic partnerships. It's as if everything is changing. The foundation of your life is being restructured on something much more sound, something much more solid. And with it comes the need for new energies in all sectors of your life. A lot of you may be looking at the individuals you once dated or you were once friends with and wondering what you ever saw in these people. I think about this sort of stuff all the time, Aries. I think about people I once dated and just blows my mind that I even tolerated certain behaviors, or I find myself wondering what I saw in some of these people because of the amount of destruction and pain they brought into my life. But at the time, I didn't really recognize it so much in the way that I do now, because there was still so much inside of me that also needed healing. So really, I was just attracting what I essentially had inside of me that was calling out to be healed. I feel like you're starting to understand this now too. We attract what needs to be healed inside of us. And it's not really the other person's fault either. They're just playing their part. They're just being used as a tool for the divine to wake you up. They have their own path that they need to find their way to. But there's this energy here where you're looking at all these different facets now. You're analyzing behavioral patterns, all sorts of things that you once entertained in your life. What do we have at the third eye, please? What a card to follow everything I just said. 9 of Swords. We're going to take it as a reversal at the third eye. Wow. This is an energy of relief. It's also an energy of perspective. It goes along with everything I was just saying here. I feel like you're really in this energy of facing your fears now. And a lot of this has to do with thoughts, Aries. Things you never really wanted to think about or maybe acknowledge within yourself, right? These things that needed to be healed, these shadow energies. It's as if you're sifting through all this now, wondering how some of these things got so buried on these deep subconscious layers of your mind. There's a lot being unearthed inside your own psyche right now, Aries. This is all happening so you can face off with any fears and enter into this new cycle much lighter and free of these energies. And I don't feel any fear within your energy anymore, Aries. In fact, I feel this very forward-focused energy. It's as if you are ready and very proactive in dealing with any of these shadow energies. You just want to deal with it and get on to the new cycle. You're in this energy of feeling like things have been put off for way too long, and you're not going to allow this to persist any further. A lot of these cycles that we find ourselves in keep us in this stagnated energy where we just don't face things because we're too consumed by the everyday workings of our lives inside the illusion, inside these karmic cycles. Before you know it, you've lost a handful of years. Imagine getting towards the end of your life and not having done anything about this. I couldn't imagine what that feeling would be like. You know, we always hear about elderly people that are living their last days and they say, I wish I would have done this, I wish I would have done that. I personally refuse to be that person, and you do as well, Aries. I feel that the amount of work that you've already done and this very driven energy that I'm picking up from you, that won't be you. Sometimes the mere thought of being that person is enough to wake you up. Aries, I feel like you're starting to understand that there's no failure in life. The only failure in life is not trying. Failing, attempting something and failing, is actually not a failure, because usually it will push us in a new direction. There'll be an evolution that happens. We try something different, or we take another route. In most cases, I feel when you have this mindset, failure doesn't even exist. I used to be so worried or fearful of attempting something and failing. I don't have this mindset anymore. If I try something and it's not catching, I just move on to something else. At least you tried, at least you know. Most of the time, you find a new way to go towards something else amongst all of that anyway. It's all a part of getting you to where you're actually supposed to be going. You needed that piece of wisdom that failure, so to speak, brought you. What do we have at the crown, please? Perfect. Death at the crown, Scorpio energy. I've been feeling this card for this entire reading. This is you transforming your life. Phoenix rising from the ashes energy. Just a complete energy of rebirth. This is what this whole spread is about, Aries. And when you get on a path like this and you take on this sort of mindset, you'll have many transformations in your life. You'll have this phoenix rising from the ashes moment all the time. It just becomes kind of common. You know, the tarot represents different steps, but the overall theme is evolution of self. Evolution is perpetual. It never stops. There is no destination. There's just benchmarks. This is this understanding that a lot of you are starting to have now, or you need to start understanding in order to break through these cycles. It's big changes coming through for you, Aries, because you're starting to get it. You're not allowing yourself to stay in this stagnated, stuck energy any longer. You're not allowing anybody to steal the most important thing from you. Hope. If you start to feel a lack of hope, this should be a clear indication that you need to leave the environment that you are currently in. What do we have at the foundation? Queen of Swords, Andrelphus, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy. Aries, I read these next few cards as negative polarities, so Queen of Swords in its detriment. So I feel like this is representing the energies that you were once entertaining in these previous cycles. Whenever I see this card, it's a donkey holding up peacock feathers. Pathological liar kind of energy, just an overall energy of living in an illusion, living a lie. This is the cycle you're closing out now. For some reason, I'm picking up on a strong female in some of your lives. This could be a mother, someone who just lives a lie, lives an illusion. You've been having to break out of these behavioral patterns, this conditioning that you picked up from this individual. It doesn't necessarily have to be female. It can also be a male. For some of you, it could be a male that is slightly more feminine. But whatever the case, it's just an overall energy of you really understanding the programming that you picked up from some of these cycles. and realizing how deep it can actually go. You know, we're born between two people, not knowing if they're good people or bad people, because they essentially equip us with the tools to measure these things. It took me quite a long time to actually come to terms with the fact that my own parents are not good people. They're very, very bad people. But when I was younger, I was made to think that they're good people. And when I look back at their behavior when I was younger, it's the type of behavior that would wind them up in jail. But I didn't know that then. And so now when I look back and I recognize the truth after going through many ascensions and awakenings and healing sessions in my own life, start to come to the conclusion that I was born between two demons. Getting a similar energy here for you, Aries. It doesn't have to be that exactly, but just the overall idea of understanding where you came from and how you couldn't see the forest for the trees and how these dynamics influenced you on your own path. Basically set you off on a path to destruction. And you know, I often wonder, do these individuals know what they're doing in that moment, or are they so caught up in the illusion, in living the lie, that they just can't see how their behavior is affecting the development of another? I guess there's probably people that fall on both sides of the coin there, people who know exactly what they're doing and don't care, and then people who are just completely indoctrinated in the illusion, the lie that they're living, something broken inside of them. And I feel that those people are probably the people that were put through the same cycle by somebody else. Maybe that somebody else knew what they were doing. There's no telling. This is so deep, it can go back hundreds of years. And usually it does go back several lifetimes. It's generational. It's patterning. What do we have at the sacral, please? The world. Wow. At the sacral. This is really speaking to me about what I was just saying about this patterning, generational karma. There's major cycles closing out not only in your life, Aries, but you're actually influencing something generational, I feel, for a lot of you and your families. It's like you've broken away from the pack. Black sheep energy is what I'm getting here. It's as if these patterns have gotten to you and you've recognized them. You've had some sort of an awakening. You've come online. And, you know, generational karma, it's a spirit. You know, a real basic kind of example of how this works. It's like, say, 200 years ago, a witch cursed somebody in your family, put a spirit on them, and that individual didn't know what happened to them, maybe didn't have access to information because it was in a time where we didn't have the technology that we do now. So these people just went about their life, just passed this spirit down. A spirit is a form of behavioral patterns. You know, an example is the spirit of addiction, right? Behavioral patterns just gets passed down if it's not addressed. This is what I'm getting here. I feel that a lot has been unearthed in your life, Aries. You've recognized it and you've put a stop to it. And again, going back to what I was speaking about, I think earlier on in the reading, for some of you, this is surrounding relationships, the kinds of people you attract into your life, the people you find yourself in romantic connections with. It's like different people, same spirit. You're starting to recognize these patterns now. You know, I dealt with that. And now when I look back, it was all in front of my face. It's the exact same patterns that people in my family were entertaining. You know, it was just passed down to me. I didn't know any better. When I started to address it, I just completely stepped back from relationships, started to really change what it is that I look for in people. In fact, I just found myself not even looking anymore. I find that this is still an area that I'm working on. You know, we hear about people saying that they want to be in relationships with people that are just like them, or they meet somebody and they say, this person's just like me. But my outlook on that has changed. I think now, if I was to be with somebody, I'd want it to be somebody who's very different from me. Yes, I would like the core values and the morals to be relatively aligned there. That's important. But I feel a well-balanced, harmonious relationship comes when there's two people that can teach each other something. This may be something that you're starting to really look for in your own life now as well, Aries. Not going for people that are exactly like you. What's the point of that? Yes, it can be useful when you're unawakened because you're essentially having people reflect back to you everything that needs to evolve about you. Again, I went through that. But now we're in a new cycle, Aries. Things have changed. Ascension is underway. What do we have at the solar plexus, please? Wow, Queen of Wands, and it fell right on top of that Queen of Swords. Yeah, there's a lot going on inside this energy, Aries. So we have Queen of Swords, Queen of Wands, so it's like this energy of living a lie, living the illusion, and then this Queen of Wands, Aries, Leo, Sag energy, so this is essentially Queen of Wands in its detriment. Very mean-spirited, domineering kind of energies, very aggressive. This could have been an energy as well that you dealt with in family dynamics. Very tyrannical energies. It's like people who are always turning on each other without any sort of reason. So you may have found, Aries, that people that you were very close with were always trying to throw you under the bus. So simply put, the people closest to you actually being your worst enemies, your mortal enemies. Boy, do I know this one. I feel like most of my life was spent living with my mortal enemies. Obviously, I didn't know this at the time, but looking back now, it was right there in front of my face. I just couldn't see it. This is what I'm picking up here with this Queen of Wands at the solar plexus position, right underneath that Page of Pentacles. Very domineering energy. Energy that was always trying to stifle any sort of new beginnings or progress you were making on your path. And again, for a lot of you, this is dating people that are in competition with you. What do we have at the heart? Wow, back to back. Queen of Wands, Queen of Wands. Paimon, Paimon. And this one says deception. What a card to follow everything I just said. Right in front of your face. Silent enemy energy. Can't see the forest for the trees. Surrounded by enemies and you don't even know it. Underneath this Eight of Cups, this is what you're finally leaving behind. It's like you've finally seen the light. You've seen the truth. You can't deny this anymore. A lot of emphasis on the mind in this reading. Focus right now on the moon. Your inner emotions. Subconscious mind. It's like things are... I'm picking up on this past life energy right now. It's as if you've run these cycles in a past life, and there's just some sort of acknowledgement of this taking place on a deep subconscious layer. This wouldn't even be something that you could probably even articulate. You may not even realize this, because it's so far beyond what I think the human mind can even possibly begin to conceive, Aries, which is telling me this is obviously a very deep reading. But just know that despite whatever cycles you may have run in a previous life with similar energies, it's this life cycle where this is actually coming to an end. This is a big energy, Aries. And this is so much bigger than your own individual life. This is a collective energy. This is an evolution inside the Aries polarity, going to war with the subconscious and defeating this spirit that has been following you around, I feel, for many lifetimes. Then we have Haziel, Divine Forgiveness, which is the Hierophant, Taurus energy. This energy of breaking out of this structured energy, not conforming to these cycles, conforming to this generational karma, fighting back against the systems that have kept you in place, Aries, spiritually, vibrationally, physically, mentally. I feel for a lot of you, it's going to be a little bit of all these areas. What do we have at the throat, please? Boom. And now the wheel turns, Aries. Wheel of Fortune, Metatron. The recording angel. Advancement and progress. Teaches, guides, and records events in the book of life. I feel like this is speaking about what I was just saying. It's like this energy is something that you faced off with before. You've ran the same cycle in a previous incarnation, but it's in this cycle where this comes to an end. This is an energy of awakening, energy of destiny, closing out one life cycle and stepping into the next. And there's a tremendous amount of good karma that's attached to this as well, Aries. Aries, whatever vision you have for your life, it's very important that you're going after that, whatever it is, because that vision is actually your mission statement. That's essentially a benchmark that you're meant to reach in this life cycle to accomplish your mission. These true heart's desires, these visions, it's there for a reason. And its reason, again, is inconceivable. What do we have at the third eye, please? Knight of Cups, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces energy, Ariel. The revealing God, perception and revelation, discovers hidden treasure, reveals secrets of nature. Aries, there's a lot of new opportunity that's going to start coming into your life if it hasn't already. There's this very creative and inspiring energy that I'm picking up from all of you. Emphasis on perception, intuition. The most important thing that you can focus on right now, Aries, is being in an energy where you're welcoming the changes, welcoming the transformations into your life. Don't create any resistance. If you're being guided away from something or letting something go, just go with the flow, Aries. Help God help you. Don't be your own worst enemy right now. And this Knight of Cups is right underneath this Nine of Swords in reverse, which is at the third eye. So third eye, all relating to your reality, how you perceive your life, your environment. Change is taking place here. Paradigm shift kind of energy. What do we have at the crown to close this out for Aries? Seven of Cups, Scorpio energy at the crown to close out the reading. And then Aries, I have the Death card again at the bottom of the deck. Endings and rebirth. The end of the universe. So it's like the end of this life cycle, the beginning of a new one. Ashila, God the just judge, contemplation, makes the truth known in legal proceedings. So I'm picking up on this energy of spiritual court. But this is all taking place in your mind. It's like you're being shown these truths, being told what you need to let go of. Being divinely guided intuitively is the simplest way I can really put this energy that I'm picking up with this Seven of Cups at the crown, Aries. It's an energy of breaking down these illusions in your life, being restored, and receiving a lot of clarity surrounding your life up until this point. There's also an emphasis here, Aries, on your psychic gifts. I feel a lot of you are starting to uncover a lot of things about yourself spiritually. You may be realizing that you have certain gifts that you never even knew about during this transformation that's taken place, Aries. Things that I feel were repressed within you. So again, to reiterate what I was saying, it's very important you're going after these true heart's desires, these visions for yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it here, Aries. There's nothing more I can really add to this energy. So hopefully there's some messages in here that can help support you on your path. Aries, this is the energy that's available to you, depending on where you are on this timeline, should you choose to accept. I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you would like a personal reading, you can find all of my contact details in the description below this video. And thank you for your donations, Aries. Take care.